I'm fairly new to this group, only several months now, and I'm not really a big expert in meditation. Most of my meditation has been more recently, say in the last year. Although I've done things in my history that, looking back, was related to meditation. So this is really a personal journey. Everyone has a personal journey that they could talk about. Let's see. I have pictures on here. I'm retired. I'm actually a psychologist, a psychometrician, statistician, and I'm retired now, and I do consulting. So my whole career has been very scientific. The scientific deduction, research, journals, publishing in professional journals that are very, very scientific. You have to have it exact right, or someone will criticize. And that's all left brain, really left brain, computer programming, statistics, math, professional knowledge, left brain stuff. For the right brain, the more creative side, I've been doing photography, and now that I'm retired, I was actually able to travel to faraway places, and I think a lot of them are mystical. Some in particular, I could talk for a long time, so I'm not afraid of talking in public. I've done it before. So let me just say, this picture here is in northern Vietnam, in the mountains of Hmong people, walking up into their, actually up over a mountain into their valley. People living subsistence level. They have a wooden hut, bare floor, a dirt floor, one light bulb, but they all dress in beautiful, colorful clothes. They're known for making many, many dyes. And they were extremely happy in life. And compare that to what we live in Western culture, where we could click an item and have it delivered tomorrow. All different types of food. We are really, I don't want to say spoiled, but we really have it very good compared to many places in the world. But sometimes we're not all happy. We want more. But those people in those huts love their life. They're smiling, laughing, friendly. I mean, they'll share. They don't have that much food, but they'll share something with us. So there's a whole perspective that's different in life that I found doing the photography. One place I went to that was especially, I felt spiritual, was in Cambodia, a very poor country in the area called Siem Reap, where there's a large temples in the jungle called Angkor Wat. And some of those pictures are behind me as it goes. There's hundreds of square miles of temples in the jungle from thousands of years ago, and we're able to explore them, take plenty of photos. Some are very active. There's some monks there, but they're really ruins. And that was very inspiring. And the other one was again in Cambodia, up a muddy river with a floating village. Again, very poor people live their whole lives on rafts and huts floating with fish. And you go up the river enough, and in the middle of nowhere was this temple, pagoda temple. And the people that I went with knew we were going to go there. They brought gifts, and there were two monks there, and they blessed us, tied ribbons on our hands, and it was very spiritual. And even though the people in Cambodia have been through a lot, I don't know if you all remember, they had a genocide with the Khmer Rouge many years ago. I think it's like a third of the population was murdered. So there's a lot of young people, and they're very poor, but they are very happy. Very happy, very nice people. I've made friends there, and many of them speak English. At least many of them that are perhaps more, city-wise, that have gone to school and college. So anyway, that was a very recent journey. Another one was to the Serengeti to photograph the animals, and that was wonderful. Those animals, just you could feel their spirit. It was very good. So before I'm going to start the basically, I really am enjoying life, being retired and doing things my own way. Early on in the meetings, I let the group know. I think this is when we were meeting in person, that in my younger years, I manifested my wife, and that was back in what year was that? Well, 89. We got married, and we had wonderful marriage, raising a beautiful daughter. But then in the last 8 years, tragedy struck. Out of the blue, my wife got very, very ill, and it turned out she had a heart valve problem and had to have emergency open heart surgery. And I that's where I lost half my hair, just going through that trauma. And she did survive with lots of complications. And then in 2015, she had a cardiac arrest and passed. So that was another big trauma. And I had a lot of stress, of course, and taking care of my daughter, a house, working full time. Luckily, my employer let me work at home. I could do a lot of stuff at home. And then I threw out my back with a herniated disc. So I was like up high, whoop, and then woo, into the pits. And I went back to my youth when I was young in my mind, and applied what I learned in like community college back in 1974 of relaxation. So I did progressive relaxation, and that really triggered in the last few years a journey, talking to friends, spending a lot of time watching videos on YouTube, reading books, to bring me now to a place that is back up again. So real good. Let me see if I could share that. Oh, it's on there. Okay. So it's a personal journey. Everyone has one. So let's see. Yeah. Oh, okay. The backdrop is a photo of a wall from Angkor Wat, actually. Way back when I was a kid, maybe 12, 13, I remember that I would feel people's pain. So if I had a friend was riding the bike and they fell off, scraped their knee on the sidewalk, I would feel the scrape in my knee as if I was experiencing it. I still do if I see someone stub their toe, hit their thumb with a hammer, or when people have physical pain, I feel it. So I think I was very sensitive in an empathetic way from an early age. So I've always had that, and I never really understood what it was, but I think it was some type of a psychic response or neurological response. I still don't know what causes it, but I'm just sensitive to that. In the 70s, I went to community college, And one of the courses I had was called Altered States of Consciousness. I don't know if they have those nowadays, but the early 70s was acid, rock and roll, Woodstock, that whole time. And I was sort of in that, proud to have gone to the first concert when Pink Floyd did Dark Side of the Moon. And that's why I can't hear too well in one ear, because I was way too close to the speakers. And this course, I don't remember a lot of details, but they had basic transcendental meditation techniques, focusing attention. So we'd find a rock or a twig or a leaf and sit there for an hour staring at it and really controlling our attention. And then progressive relaxation, which a lot of guided meditations use, where you either start from the top of your head or the bottom of your feet, and you pay attention to your breathing, and then put your attention in your body. Relax your feet, relax your calves, your knees, your hips, all the way up into your whole body, your eyes, your jaw, and really go into a very relaxed state, which I find interesting because I'm wearing a Fitbit, trying to keep healthy. And one of the things it does is track sleep. And I usually meditate before sleep. That's when I do the most. And the Fitbit app breaks sleep into 4 things: awake, light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. And deep and REM are supposed to be very good for both neurology and your body healing. When I do this meditation and progressively relax and pretty much relax completely, my Fitbit is registering it as deep sleep, which I find interesting, because I'm still cognizant in what's going on, but my body is in almost a deep sleep thing, which is very good. I mean, that's one of the health things. And one of the reasons I went that direction was for my back, to help that. So one of the also I just threw it in there. I didn't realize it at the time, but my career has been the prediction of people in group success, whether so I worked with a lot of testing, hiring and training managers and leaders, hiring people even in retail. I was involved in the testing and hiring of the initial TSA agents in 2001, 2002, when that was formed. High school students, K-12 testing, predicting how well they're going to do next year in school, as well as clinical testing with MMPI in particular. I worked with for clinical psychologists using to evaluate patients and their progress. So my whole life has really been predicting the future of people, which I find interesting, because it's sort of trying to be a psychic. I know when I went into that field, my mother said, "What should I get you for a graduation present? A crystal ball?" She was joking, but functionally, that's sort of what I was doing. Okay, let's see here. I got to look around my thing. So I'm coping with traumas. I told you I retired. So I did the progressive relaxation more and more, and it's always been. It's now looking back. It's meditation. It really is. So then I was reading in a bookstore I went through, and I picked up this book on. Oh, I turned red. I think the green screen does that. Remote viewing. The government, Department of Defense, CIA, all those agencies back in the early years, 60s, 70s, and 80s, had programs. A lot of it was like psychic warfare. I know the Russians did that as well. And they had a big program out of Stanford where they had physicists and other researchers do remote viewing. And it's basically where they get into a meditative, not a trance, but a very relaxed state in the now, where they're, this light has turned me red. Anyway, they're in the now, and they're seeing what comes to them in images. And they did this research with many people over time, found that just about everyone could be trained to do it. Some people easier than others, and that they actually did find a remote viewing. And then the people who did that research wrote that remote viewing is related to other psychic abilities. They're all pretty much the same. It's just different dimensions, your different senses. So outwardly, we see things, but in our mind, we could see things. We could feel things here, but we could inside feel our heart, our lungs, our breathing. We hear things outside, but we could also hear things inside, our own voice talking to ourselves, or mental chatter. Smell. Some people are very sensitive outside, but you could remember the smell of something in your mind. So it's inside. Kinesthesiology is also the feeling. So our senses are, both outside and inside, and being able to separate yourself from those senses, you really become focused on the now and what's occurring. At least that's how it happened to me. So that book got me started, and then I started looking at YouTube videos related to that. And for a few friends that do meditations told me to do that to help with health. So some of the more recent influential sources. So the spiritual locations, and those are only, Cambodia is only one of them. I've been to others, but that's the most recent and the most striking to see that, because they went through many thousands of years of the Southeast Asia in general. There weren't countries like then, like there are now, from Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism. I really don't know all the histories, but I think that the current people there are mostly Buddhists, and probably a certain sect that I'm not aware of. Also, one of the meetings there, I say YouTube and Zoom meetings by Louise Kay. I ran into her on YouTube. She's actually out of Amsterdam, and she's been doing these Zoom meetings, meditation meetings. What I found with her, and I'll show that actually in the next slide, is that she really was inspired and by The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And I read through that, and in there, one of the first things he said, his life was so horrible. He thought to himself, I can't live with myself. And then he thought, well, who is the I, and who is the myself? And I had that same feeling. There's I am not necessarily who I think I am. Anyway, then my daughter got me an Echo Dot for Christmas, and basic Amazon Music. Bless her heart. Now she regrets it. So I got seeing things, Law of Attraction. I learned of that. I actually read the first book that they put out. And in particular, Jess Shepard and others did guided meditations with that law of attraction. I found that very helpful. And Psychic Development and Health by Jeffrey Favaloro. Because I still thought, what is this? Why do I feel physical things when I see people get hurt? I could see a TV shows where someone gets hit in the head, and I feel like a pain. It's not damaging, but I feel it, even though it's not occurring right there and then. And then, of course, our in-person meetings with Vitkus on positive thoughts and law of attraction. So that has got me going. It's a little odd for me being very scientific, professional. So this is a completely different side of me from my professional side. I think I could separate them. I separate them pretty good.